Hello, Delios Magne here. I'm your Bible teacher for this prayer telecast, and it's my pleasure again to come on here to continue the thoughts that I started in the first in the series of these, which we started sharing about how to, begin to position our hearts, in the new year. So I want to also begin to share here how to get on the faith lane significantly, because the opportunity for a new year is another opportunity to get on the faith grace pathway, because that is the pathway that is going to cause you to make the most of the opportunities God is going to give you this new year. So I'm going to read again from Galatians 3. I'm going to read 3 verses there, 23, 24, 25. It said, Paul's describing a scenario here that is described as before faith came. So there's a scenario within the work of a believer that is vividly described as a situation before faith came. So we are kept under guard by the law, kept for the faith, which would afterward be revealed. Therefore, the law was our tutor to bring us to Christ that we might be justified by faith. But after faith has come, we are no longer under a tutor. So there's a situation in the beginning of every year that is called before faith came. So, and Paul described that situation as such that there are only 2 pathways available every year. You have the pathway of faith and you have the pathway of the law. And that if you don't consciously get on the pathway of faith, the only available pathway is that of the law. And that is a religious system that is devoid of grace and truth. That means, and look at how Paul rightly described that system that is called the law. So that means at the beginning of the new year like this, as we've gone halfway through the first month of the year, this month of January, is either people are walking by faith or people are walking this other reality that is called the law. And Paul said we were kept under guard by the law. So what the religious system does is to keep people under guard. So, you see that significantly people are not making progress, despite the fact that they are locked into a religious system. But within that religious system, it is difficult to find grace, because faith is the access point into the grace of God. And it is difficult for them to also understand the truth. So you see the same people going to church year in, year out. And at the end of the day, significantly, there is no faith walk, as it were. Because once there's no faith walk and it's not defined in the light of this Galatians 3:23, technically what is happening to that individual is that he's under the guard of the law. So he's under a religious system. And the beautiful thing about that is that, you see, that should not also last forever, because Paul went further to say here that such an individual is kept for the faith which would afterward be revealed. So the truth about the matter is everyone that is locked in a religious system, and everyone that is part of this system where there's no grace and truth is significantly lacking, is kept there so that there can be a revelation of faith. And that is one of the reasons why we are doing this telecast, that indeed you have to come to the substance of 2018, because the substance of things hoped for, once that substance is not developed within the spirit of the believer, is not verbalized and communicated and understood by the believer, what is happening is the law, and that would be the shadow of the good things to come and not the very image of things. So people know that there are good things to come, but because within themselves they could not create the very image of the experiences within their heart and within the environment that will bring to pass this good thing that they are persuaded of, then if faith is not the driving force, the other alternative reality is to now begin to do it by the law. So in verse 24, it said, the law was our tutor to bring us to Christ that we might be justified by faith. So why is it that people do all these religious things, that is devoid of grace and truth? Is so that they can be brought to Christ. Because where there's no faith, where there's no substance, where there's no corresponding evidence of that substance, there can't be Christ. That means people can be part of a religious system and is strictly devoid of Christ. And that is why the faith work is needed. You see, one of the reasons why at some point, while you are carrying out your religious thing, God will demand a faith work. Look at Zachariah, for example. He was just burning incense, believing God that he will have a child, and for that child to come, God had to stop him on the religious track, which is not a bad thing, and he brought him into the faith flow. But because the faith flow was trained to Zachariah, God had to make him dumb, because Zachariah was not accustomed to that faith flow, because in religion you can see anything and it's okay. But once you get on the faith flow, whatever you say is very, very important. And because Zachariah was not really used to this flow, God had to make him dumb so that, the revelation of Christ will not be tampered with by all the wrong things he's going to say. So there are many triggers that show whether people are still very much in the religious flow or they've come significantly into the faith pack. And the faith will afterward be revealed. And that is the faithfulness of God. But whenever God is compelling somebody that is locked into a religious formula to take a faith step, because that is always the limiting step, I hope the person will not be under guard by the law. I hope the person will understand that, yes, this is a religious system, but God is calling the person into something higher. And that is why I now say after faith has come, we are no longer under a tutor. So, and that is very, very important, that in 2018, God is going to give instructions. And the reason for those instructions is because God wants to bring you into a space in Galatians 3:25 that is called after faith has come. And how does it come? Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. That means as you go into life, certain instructions will begin to come. There will be a communication of the word of God. There will be an involvement of Christ with your realities and circumstances, and those things will be definite steps of faith God is going to ask you to take in the scheme of things. And once these things are made known and they are defined, and an individual refuses to take those steps of faith, let's say somebody is believing God for a financial breakthrough, somebody is believing God for a job, at some point, you see, when you start out, you start on the note of the law. There's still no grace and truth, but at some point, grace is released and there's truth. Grace is released and there's truth. At that point, you must change lane. You must get on the faith flow. But unfortunately, after grace is released and truth is established, a lot of people still continue to believe God, when at such a point, all they needed to do was to take advantage of the grace and the truth revealed and take a quantum leap and generate a quantum leap and just soar. But you see, a lot of people will still begin to ask God to do what is already given an instruction that it can only be achieved as you have a faith walk. And that's what I just want to share with you today. I hope at some point faith will come for you too. Are you going to quit the religious lane and get to the faith lane? Because that significantly will change everything for you in 2018. Thank you very much. Dana Shumankinde here, saying God bless you. Bye.